Hey everybody, it's Tyler with Gaia Force Gaming, and I'm here with my friend Ben. His net handle is Airborne. And why are we here today, my friend?
So I managed to I enter the Gaia Force Gaming locals every Monday. Shout out to Gaia Force Gaming. Thank you so much for hosting these every week. I try to enter with a new deck or at least a jank deck, something to test every week. And this week I had no idea. I only had 10 minutes left, so I was like, you know what? I'm in the mood for purple. Let's run Turbo Millennium. And I somehow went 4-0.
Yeah, you did great. It was awesome to watch. Uh, and a lot of people were interested in this deck, so I figured since you're not going to post it on your YouTube, by the way, check out his YouTube and his Twitch. Like I said, Airborne. If you want to give me your links after this, I'll throw them in the description.
Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and say them real quick. It's twitch.tv/AirborneIsFly for both Twitch, YouTube, and even Twitter as well.
Awesome. And yeah, he makes good content both for Digimon and you also do Marvel fighting games, right?
Yeah, I play Marvel vs. Capcom. Normally, that's my main hobby. I'm a Spider-Man specialist and also Black Panther specialist in Infinite.
Awesome. But today we're talking about this spicy purple list. So if you want to take it away, go through your cards, why you chose them, and what you would change, if anything.
All right. So in 10 minutes of time, basically, I just had to panic, figure out the numbers in my head. Didn't really have time to think. So we'll just go ahead and start with the babies because I didn't even have... I had those sleeved up already. I knew exactly what was going on with that. 1 Pagumon, 4 Demi-Meramon. If you're not running the 4 Demi-Mera when you're playing purple, you're messing up. It's by far the best baby. Helps you filter your hand, cycle out, build your trash, build your hand at the same time, and just gets what you need to get set up. And then the Pagumon is just having a 5th baby. There weren't any games that went to fatigue. Played a lot of control decks, but having 5 never hurts.
Very cool. And then do you want to start at your megas?
Yes.
Awesome.
So this was the obvious pick. So 3 Millennium, 3 Beelzemon. I don't have a 4th Beelzemon. I kind of like having 3 anyways, just to have a little more variety in the megas. Since purple does go through their deck a lot, there's a lot of times where just being able to have options is very important. And then the Millenniumon didn't do too much. Helped me very much in the final round against the Red Omni, but a lot of times I was playing against a lot of control decks. So there was a lot of time I just needed to swarm the board and not worry about the high value. So a lot of time he was good discard fodder. So that was him. The Beelzemon actually was the absolute power play of the deck. I mean, it's the whole reason why you play him. Just being able to warp Digivolve from Impmon, clear blockers, just get a lot of tempo out of it. Absolutely huge.
Very
and then for
cool.
the rest of the megas... Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying very cool, and this is like my favorite part of the deck, honestly, that you're about to go over.
So, this is my favorite Digimon, my favorite Digivolution line in the game, or in the franchise. Gabumon is best boy, Metal Garurumon is, cold metal good boy, War Garurumon is edgy good boy, and Garurumon is just big fluffy good boy. So we have 2 of them. Got a ton of value in the control matchups out of just... a lot of times I would have to hard play a Skull Meramon because my hand was dead, and I needed presence on board. Just getting a cheap body out there, and the Skull Meramon was a huge threat because if they gave me 3 memory, if I already had Matt, or if they did something to allow him to live, I could just get the Metal Garurumon on board and get insane value. And so this was definitely the MVP outside of Beelzemon. And then 1 Piedmon. I set myself up against a 2-color control to actually be able to play it 3 times in one game. I just sat on Piedmon and 2 mats and tried to flood the board as much as I could with everything else. And then this was kind of just sitting there to be my game finisher. So definitely it was huge for the control matchups. 1 felt great because you go through your deck so much. If it's revealed in security, you can play Mat, get it back. It's I think 1 is just perfect right now before it dies off in BT4.
Very cool. Very cool. Were you comfortable with your level 6 lineup? Is there anything you would change?
The only thing that felt weird was having 3 Millenniumon, and that was only because in the first game against the 2CC and the third round, my opening hand was 3 Millenniumon, a Metal Garurumon, and it might have been a Night Raid or a Mat. It was absolutely terrible, and I still almost won that game if I had hard played the Metal Garurumon later instead of a Skull Marimon or Chimeramon. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it was Chimeramon because I didn't proc the effect. I could have still won that game. The Millenniumon though did feel a bit clunky, but it was mostly because I didn't run into the matchups that it was most useful in.
Gotcha.
The Red Omni was absolutely great.
Alrighty, let's go to your level 5 choices.
Alright, so I had 8 level 5s. I did 3 Chimeramon. I only did 3 because 4 I was a little worried. I plague tested a bunch of janky memory tax decks over the past week. If you want to check it out, go to my YouTube channel. I have a deck profile of that, and then a Megazoo variety that I'll be making a match video for this week. 4 just feels way too much, or way too clunky, and there's a lot of times where you feel really bad, especially in the Shine Greymon matchup, to hard play it, give your opponent a lot of memory while you're just blowing up an ultimate. Like unless you know you're bottlenecking them from keeping them getting into the slashes and shines, then it's not too great. Then we had 1 Garurumon. I teched this in just because I was running the Metal Garurumon. I wanted the maximum value, and there's a lot of times that you're just going to be Digivolving in a Chimeramon just to be able to get the draw and try to get threaten a Mega the next turn. So I felt like it was necessary to have the Inheritable, and there were a lot of times he just got hard removed by like Gaia Forces or Seven Heavens just because his Inheritable is too big of a threat. And then we ran 4 Skull Marimon because since we're not playing Turbo Omni in BT1, we're running Turbo Millie, and so we want the low cost. Hard playing Skull Marimon felt so great today. I did it so many times.
Yeah, very cool. And he's just the standard 5-drop 6K level 5 that we see.
Right. He's basically Monzimon for, or Groundramon for purple.
Yeah, perfect.
These are upside down. Alright, and then we have 10 champions after that. 4 Marimon, basically the same exact thing. What's nice about him is, so he only has 5,000 power, so swinging into blockers feels bad sometimes, but generally you have 2 Inheritables under him, so you want the advantage. You don't really care about the blockers. You're just getting them out of the way so you can swing with everything else. But you can hard play him for 5 as opposed to Gorillamon or Dark Tyrannomon, which have a hard play of 6. So that felt great. And then we ran 4 Vilemon. Always have your blockers. And then 2 Devimon. I feel kind of bad because in my first round I was playing against a Red Omni that wasn't familiar with purple. And so Devimon just ate him up because there were a lot of times he was swinging over things or just swinging into security. And I could just Digivolve my rookie and into Devimon and clear it, get a huge advantage. And 2 just felt great instead of 4.
Yeah, unfortunately, people who started playing in 1.5 probably don't know much about purple.
Absolutely.
It is a real threat.
And then next up we had the rookies. When I was panicking, I originally wanted to do 16. I think I ended up with 14. I'll double check that because, like I said, I only had 10 minutes to make this deck. We had 4 Gabumon, 3 Impmon. I felt like 4 Impmon, that was kind of where I had to cut because I wanted to keep the number of vanillas. I only did 4 vanillas. But the Impmon is necessary because you need to have the ability to get your Beelzemon, and also milling after you've already milled so much kind of hurts. But the Impmon's great. Once you get one in the graveyard, get one in hand, Night Raid becomes huge, and Beelzemon is instantly live at any point. 2 Tapermon because I realized that I completely forgot about him. I was like, okay, let's fit in 2. Had 4 Vanillas and 1 Gazimon. I didn't know what I was going to be running into, so I felt like the Gazimon was going to be helpful. There wasn't a single time where I blocked memory, so I could have honestly just made this a 3rd Tapermon, but it's whatever. So we ended up with 14 rookies. So I didn't have to shave off too many.
Cool. And would you like to run 16? Should you test this like more in the future?
I was thinking about it because Purple generally wants to have a lot of rookies just to be able to load them up in the graveyard, but the recurrence and everything with Night Raids and Metal Garurumon, as long as you just get at least one in the grave or in the discard, the trash, however they call it, it feels fine. Like I think there was a lot of times where I'm glad I didn't run 16. I think is the main thing. I definitely had to make space for the Night Raids, the mats, and just make sure I had everything for my ultimates and whatnot.
All right, very cool. And now your options and tamers.
All right, so we got 3 Night Raid. There were a lot of times I was actually hitting the security well into where I had already pushed my opponent to where they were trying to counter my lethal for the next turn, and they would swing into a Night Raid. It was huge. Night Raid is very amazing for the Beelzemon setups. Like if, let's say they have a blocker and a problem on the field, you could Night Raid the Impmon, warp into the Beelza, and then Digivolve into Millenniumon, clear 2 guys, and have a sticky guy that people hate. This was the one card that I hated the most because I ran into a bunch of control matchups or matchups where I was just fighting for the board. Heat Viper was better off as a discard fodder than anything, but if I ran into Imperial Dramon or Rookie Rush, it would have been absolutely huge. And then for the last of the options, just 2 Trump Sword. I felt really good about this. There were a lot of times that I was just bringing it back with Matt. If I forced my opponent to hard drop a Volcanic Dramon or something, I would Trump Sword it. If they had another Volcanic Dramon or Ultra-S or something, then I would just play a Mat, bring back the Trump Sword and Trump Sword. There was actually one time someone did play Volcanic, and I managed to play the Mat, get the Trump Sword back, Trump Sword the Volcanic, and put them at 1, and I was able to choke them for the entire set in the final round.
Very cool. And then I'm assuming the last 3 cards, we all know what they are, but let's go ahead and talk about him.
Yeah, I love Gabumon, but I hate Matt, but he's been winning me back slowly in the reboot of the anime. Matt Ishida, Yamato. I don't even know what to say about this card. He's one of the best tamers in the game. It's just he's not in yellow or green, so he's often overlooked. But he is insane value. A lot of times, if you're playing a tempo match where it's all about board control or trying to make sure that you can choke your opponent, there's times where you just don't have anything to do. Hard playing Matt and just not even getting the value from it is very significant. There's a lot of times where I could come out with an ultimate from Raising, be able to Digivolve into Metal Garurumon, and get the swing, all because Matt provided a memory floor of at least 3. So just being able to do that, being able to just helps me get into my Megas quicker, helps me give extra memory for Night Raids and anything else.
Very cool. Do you want to talk a little bit about your matchups and how you felt they went, what you think were good and bad matchups with this deck, etc.?
So I played against 2 Red Omnis, one in the first round, one in the last round. I went 2-0 against them, and then I believe I went 2-1 against both Shine Greymon and 2-Color Control. Surprisingly, I didn't think about it, but 2-Color Control actually has an extremely hard time with this deck, just because they spend so much memory on hard removal, and Mistymon is not strong enough to actually clear 2 bodies for most of the time, unless it's 2 rookies. The Meramon always lives. The blocker stays a blocker. There were just a lot of times where swinging over things felt bad for them. Hard playing removal felt bad for them. There was just a lot of time. It was just I was able to set up a board to where they had to answer it, but I had plenty of resources to just spit out another board, and it forced a lot of memory out of them. The Red Omni, actually fantastic matchup. Just Devimon being able to swing up into their higher strength guys or higher level guys to get a lot more value, and then being able to get all the recursion from the inheritables, and then Trump Sword to any time that they managed to get an Omnimon off. That it just felt great. Shine Greymon, I was actually surprised, was a much better matchup than I thought it would be. Just being able to flood the board with rookies. Outside of the game, I Dedra at the beginning and didn't see any rookies for a couple turns. I was able to just flood the board and force him to have answers, and then anytime it got out of hand, he had the Glorious Burst or something, I was just able to go in.
Yeah, I can see that. That's awesome. I really like that you made purple work. I mean, obviously you said this is a pretty rushed deck list, so I mean maybe with testing it might look a little different, but I mean the list is solid overall. I really like it.
Yeah, I kind of got inspiration from True Champion Steve. Shout outs to him for he put out a 1.5 video that was previewing all of the decks for each color. And I remember this one always stuck out just because it had Metal Garurumon in it. And I played almost exclusively purple in the 1.0 format, and I didn't have enough Beelzemon back in the day to actually do like a Turbo Millie style deck. But now that we have Marimon, Demi Marimon, Skull Marimon, the extra vanillas with Candlemon, the deck just feels so much more fluid, and you don't feel bad about hard dropping an ultimate and not getting value off of it immediately.
Yeah, the deck actually reminds me of I don't know if anyone who watches my videos will know him, but there's a YouTube creator, Ryan Kai, who does Vanguard and Digimon stuff. He plays I believe he lives in Japan. He plays like Japanese format, and he was always running like Metal Garurumon purple lists for like as long as I can remember. He always had very interesting builds, like all the way from BT2 on. So that's very cool.
Yeah, and he's been putting out some really cool stuff with Omni's Wart decks.
Lately, yeah. He plays like primarily purple. If you, right. I'm glad you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's definitely my inspiration for going back to purple at some point in BT5 and BT4. So
yeah, Omni Purple is going to be insane, I think.
Oh yeah.
But thank you for taking the time for the deck profile. Congrats on winning this weekly. It was 13 people, pretty small, but I mean we cap it at 16 for now. We might go up in the future, and I think the competition overall is pretty stiff, to be honest.
For sure.
And yeah, I guess the last thing is you get to choose what your thumbnail is. Who do you want your thumbnail to be?
Oh man, thumbnail? You know what? We're gonna go with my my cold metal boy, and let's say Metal Garurumon.
You got it. I'll find a cool one for this. Thanks, Ben. Everyone check him out. Like he said, AirborneIsFly on YouTube, Twitch, and all of the social medias. And thanks for stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff.
Thank you.